Okay, perfect. Okay, welcome everyone. So this workshop is organized specifically for PGM 5900 students. So the assumptions here is that you haven't used Microsoft Project before, and even if you did, you may learn a thing or two because what you're looking at, this is a bit of, there is a little bit of update on the user interface in Project 21. And so that's what it's looked like. Now, if you remember, if you are using a Mac operating system, the best way to access project is through a virtual machine. And I shared the information on how to access a virtual machine with you already. And so as you can see here, this is a blank file in Microsoft Project. We have it looks like just like a spreadsheet. We have the menu tab here with File, Task, Resource, Report, Project, View, and this is where you do most of the things or execute most of the tasks you're going to need to execute for your lab assignments. Now, as you can see here, I have something you don't have. It's called WBS Schedule Pro. It is an add-on to create chart in Microsoft Project. So you don't have that because you'd need to add it to your file, to your Microsoft Project, in order for you to have it. So don't pay attention to it. We're not going to do anything with the WBS Schedule Pro. So the next thing here after View is you should see Help and Gantt chart format. All right. So that's what it's look like. Now, for those who are using Project Libre, we're not going to run this workshop on Project Libre. It's going to be run using Microsoft Project, but I can show you that Microsoft Project Libre is designed based on the user interface of Microsoft Project. As you can see in the File tab, you can do the same thing. You can open an existing file, create a new file, and in the if you're not going to print, then we don't have to pay attention to this. But you have in the File tab, you also have project tasks that you can perform. That's include looking at different project, enter project informations, working with calendar. You can take a look at the project dialog here, and you can save a baseline, clear, or a baseline, or update your project file. But also there's the Task tab. You can see a bunch of activities here or things you can do in Views, Clipboard, and Tasks, and Resource. And from View, you can switch from different views. So this is, really the same user interface with, the slight difference here, because it wouldn't be legal to copy Microsoft Project exactly the way it is. So Project, this is Project, and I think we didn't look at File, but if you look at File, you can do all of the same thing I just showed you in Project Libre. You have the Task tab, Resource, Report, Project, where you have project information, and also where you can set baseline, etc. So we're going to see that a view is where you can switch from different views. We call workspaces, and I think we just repeating this at this point. Okay, so now what I'd like you to do is to find the spreadsheet I've sent you. I've emailed you a spreadsheet, and that is the spreadsheet. Now, what do I have in the spreadsheet is project information. I keep it to a minimum. I didn't develop this project too much because we only have so much time to work with this thing. So I kept most of the project deliverables at a high level. And I also created a sample of the resources that we use in this project. Sample of resources. Now this is an empty sheet. So we have a project tasks. Here, what we call project tasks, we talk about deliverables, sub-deliverables, and project activities. We have durations, we have the relationship among the project items, and some resource assignments here. Give me 1 second. Well, that should be fine. Some resource assignment. Okay, so do you have any questions before we start? Now, one student asked me, what were people doing before project management software? Now, before project management software, that was in the early 1980s, people were designing their project network diagram by hand, but it wasn't very useful. As you know, the critical path of a project changes as the project progresses. And one of the key things, or one of the most important features of a project management software is to help you find and manage the critical path. And if you try to do it by hand, it just not going to work. This is why when you do it in class, it's just for practice purposes, in order for you to understand what a software is doing in the background. But from a practical point of view, you need a project management software applications to do it. So what are we going to do? We're going to take this spreadsheet information. As you can see here, I have a hierarchy. For a work breakdown structure, at level one, you have the project. So that's the project. And then you have the major deliverable. The major deliverables will be at level 2. And then level 3, you're going to have sub-deliverables, supporting deliverables. Level 4, work packages. And then if you're building a schedule, from the work packages, you're going to create the project activities. Now, what I'd like you to understand is the level of detail in a project depends on what your team members need. So if they're very familiar with a WES item, deliverable, then there is no need to break it down any further because they do have expertise doing it. And that's what you're going to learn here. So we will take this information, open project, open a blank file. So we're going to go step by step here doing this. Now let's work, since you all in PGM 5900, we can actually work with information that is from your lab assignments. So what we're going to do, we're going to create a new file, give it a name based on your project name. So this one, I'm going to save as was here. I'm going to save it here. I'm going to name it my last name, my initial here, and the name of my project. It's a concentrated solar power plant. I'm going to call it CSP plant. Okay, and I'm going to save it here. So the name of the project file will be on top like this. Now, so that's the first thing to do for your from the instructions that you see on my screen here, or you can just open your lab assignment. We're going to just walk through it. Okay, so this is, I'm going to, let me do something here. Wait 1 second. This should turn off my camera for a moment. I have, my eyes are dry. Give me 1 second. So that's the first thing to do. So the second thing to do is to enter the objectives of your project. One of the things you learn from your lectures is that project objective must be smart, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. All right, and you've probably heard this over and over. It's like there's someone in the chat. Okay. Now let me show you what that's look like. We saw this probably already in the lectures, measurable project objective. As you can see here, I answer 4 questions that we talk about: what, why, how much, how long. So the objective of this project, the solar power plant project, is to build a solar power plant with a minimum capacity of 390 megawatts within the next 3 years at a cost not exceeding $2.5 billion. The project will allow the company, in this case, BrightSource, to provide renewable electric power for 144,000 homes. Now, that's what we didn't have here, or we do have it, but it's supposed to be, the text supposed to be black. Where is the text? Oh, it is, I know, it is blocked by the triangle, 144,000 homes. So that's what we have here. Now, as you can see here, I cover in my SMART objective, I cover all elements of the triple constraint. That's what SMART project objectives meant. Sometimes take a little bit of time to understand this, but in a SMART project objective, you cover the triple constraint: schedule, budget, scope requirements. And that's what we have here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this information, and I'm going to go to project. I'm going to go to the backstage view and project information, or info. I'm going to start over. I'm going to the Microsoft project file. I'm going to click on file, info, project information, and I'm going to, in the comment box, I'm going to add this information here. See? Now, why is this important? When you have a project file in Microsoft Project, you do not have a lot of detailed information there, although you have the project plan in a Word document. But if someone come here and open your project file, they should be able to see right here what your project is all about. Whether it's a page or a paragraph, what exactly your project is about. Because this is what Microsoft Project is going to take into considerations when people are going to look at whether your project is meeting its plan standards. So add your name here as the manager, your company. You can put Northeast State University here if you want. And here we have project management, right? And we all set. Now, if you want to add keywords for when you're searching for your file, that's going to help you find your file very, very quickly. You can add the name of your project code, whatever you want to add here. But now, as you can see, if I go back to here, that's cover this part. In the backstage view of Microsoft Project, use the file properties to enter a brief description of the project objective in the comment field. So that's what we just did right here. So
Professor,
that's number 2.
Professor, can I ask a question, please?
Go ahead.
In the backstage view of Microsoft Project, you have copy pasted a project objective, like from slides, right?
Yeah.
So when we will start this Microsoft Project assignment, do we need to do exactly the same way? I mean, do we need to exactly copy the same thing that you copied and pasted?
Oh, no. You'd have to enter your project objective there because we're all working on different projects.
Okay, Professor. Thank you.
Sure. Other questions? Okay. So you can check this and then and then let's keep going. Now, we are going to set the start date. Remember, we talk about this when we planning. You could plan backward or forward. In this class, we plan forward. We do forward planning. So forward planning in project management is knowing when your project will start. In this case, we know that the project will start the second week of Monday of the second week of January next year. So next year is 2026. So now we need to know, how do we add a project start date? Now, let's do this. Now, the way to add a project start date is to click project, right? Project information and start date, right? So Monday, second week that January 12th. And we enter this information here, and then we click OK. Okay. So that's how we do it. Now, we've been working on our file. We don't have our information yet. Project information's data, we don't have that yet, but we actually entering a lot of, we preparing our file. So that's what we're doing. Now, the next thing to do, yeah.
Sorry, can you repeat the part of the date, please? I misunderstood which, can you repeat the part of the date setting? I misunderstood which button I have to like push to configure that.
I found some web results. I can show them if you like.
Give me 1 second. I couldn't hear you. You want me to do this again? Is that what you said?
Yes, the date configuration, please.
Oh, the date. Okay. So the start date is in project information, and start date. So you just use the calendar here to enter the start date. And it's a second week, Monday, second week of January next year. And we know next year is 2026. And Monday, second week is January 12th, 2026.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Professor, does it calculate the end date by itself?
It will, yes, automatically. So
how do we, sorry, just confirming. So what if we have a planned end date, as in, let's say our project, we are planning to finish in like 18 months or 2 years. Cannot we add that?
The best way to deal with an imposed finish date is to create a detailed plan from the start of the project. And then after you create the detailed plan, you see whether there is a discrepancy between your imposed finish date and the date calculated by the software. Then if there is a discrepancy, you will try to reconcile it by reviewing your project durations, resources you have working on project. But, you know, this is a very common situation. But the thing to do is to always work with the detailed engineering information expert estimates, etc., and see whether there is a match between detailed planning and top-down estimate. Because if they give you a date to end your project from the start of the project, it's called a top-down estimate. It's where the management, you know, found this information, and for whatever the reasons they think you can complete this project by this imposed date. But when the engineers, the technicians, all the people who will be working on the task give you estimates, they can tell you whether this is possible or not. And if there is a discrepancy, then you have to go and have conversations with your project sponsor and explain what this discrepancy is. Obviously, if detailed engineering information tells you that you can do better than that, you can just leave it like that. But if you feel based on the information you receive from your technicians, your experts, you might not be able to complete the project. It's, you know, you have to negotiate or the targets. Now, this is why in project management educations, they teach negotiation skills. So for situations like this, but this is very common. In some in Microsoft Project, you can either when you are entering dates, you can either enter start date because if you say schedule from start date, but you could schedule from finish date as well. In your case, it's not gonna make a difference, because when you add a finish date, then you can't put both. You have to put one. As you can see, when I choose to schedule from the start, the finish date is gray. I can't change that. It will just estimate it for me. Right now, it tells me the start date and the finish date are the same. Obviously, I don't have any durations here. I don't have any informations here. But once I keep entering informations, this finish date will change.
Okay.
So you're going to see that in a minute. And we have
Professor,
a hand up.
Thank you.
Professor?
Yes?
Sorry to interrupt. Do we need to put start or finish date as based on our assumption?
As I said, in this class, we do forward planning. We only put a start date.
Okay. Okay, Professor.
There's another hand up.
Excuse me, I have a question. Like, will you send the recording of this workshop to us?
Oh, sure.
Will you send the recording of this workshop to us?
Yes, absolutely. Sure thing. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So let's see how the finish date will change as we enter information from the spreadsheet. Okay, so let's do that. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy all the information starting from the project name all the way down to item 60. And I'm going to click copy, and I'm going to paste this information into project. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is pretty simple. As you can see, when you copy and paste, you lost the hierarchy. So you're going to have to recreate it. But before we start working, take a look at my task mode. Everything is manually scheduled. Now, to take full advantage of the software, we're going to switch to auto schedule, right? And give me 1 second. I'm going to make sure you copy all the items here, and then you have all the information. Now, I'm working from a spreadsheet because I don't want to type everything. When you creating your file, it is possible that you're working from scratch, or maybe you're copying them from an AI generated item to Microsoft Project, or you typing them directly here. That it doesn't make any difference. But you don't have to create a spreadsheet first and then work in project. It's not necessary, because Microsoft Project is actually a spreadsheet. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to indent. I'm going to first switch to auto schedule. In order for me to do that, I select the column here, and I'm going to click on task, and I click auto schedule here. And the task tab, you see, manually schedule, auto schedule. So I click here, right? So that's auto schedule. Everything is in auto schedule. And if you wanted to, you could make sure that every task you enter is automatically on auto schedule. We could take a look at that later. But for now, as you can see, by default, everything is 1 day. That's a default estimate in Microsoft Project. So here's another thing that I'm going to do. Now that I have a bunch of activities here, so I'm going to go back to the spreadsheet and take a look at the duration. Now, you have to do it properly. To do it properly, you make sure that you copy, put your cursor here on 10 days for create project charter and copy it all the way down. Copy it all the way down. That's until project complete. And then go back to project. Make sure you put your cursor right in front of create project charter. It has to be right in front of project charter. If you do it any other way, it's not going to work, or we're going to have a difference. Okay, so put your cursor right here and paste it. I did a Control V, so that's what I did here. Now, if you want to check whether this is correct, then you can go back and make sure that create project charter is 10 days, right? Charter created, which is a milestone, you have to check that it has 0 duration, 0 days, right? And if you go all the way down, project complete, which is another milestone, should be 0. So if this is the case, then you did it properly. I'm just, for now, copying and pasting. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to fix the hierarchy that I created, that I have in Microsoft Project. As you can see, if you take a look at the spreadsheet, you can see that everything is indented under the project. Remember, when you're creating a work breakdown structure, if you level 1 is the project. So what I'm going to do, I am going to go to project. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to select everything here. Now remember, the first item I select is item number 2, which is project initiation. I didn't select the name of the project. So after I've done that, I click on task and click indent. This is indent here. When you click on it, the durations of the project change, or if you want the duration of the project changes, to take the durations of the longest estimate in the project file. So that's right. Right now, I didn't link anything yet, but I have to complete the hierarchy. Now, I have to complete the hierarchy, right? So under project initiation, I have some project activities. I know the project activities, they start with an action verb, right? So I'm going to select them and I'm going to indent them, right? As you can see here, project initiation duration, take the longest duration here of the durations of the longest project activity, because I didn't link anything yet. So we're going to link them in a second. Now, if I link those activities, then Microsoft Project would add them up.
Can you repeat that part, please?
Well, I didn't link those. I said I didn't link the project activities yet. I didn't do that yet. In this case, the summary task, project initiation, takes the durations of the longest activity. But if I link them in a finish to start relationship, Microsoft Project would add those the activities up to give me the durations of the project. I can give you an example here. If I
I meant how did you change the configuration for the project initiation task specifically?
How did I change the configuration?
Yeah, you see there's like an arrow to the left of the word, and now it says 10 days.
I indented. I select the first activity under project initiation, and I click indent. That's what I thought.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Now, if you want to see how project add up duration in a file, so what all you need to do is to tell project what's the relationship among those activities in the projects. For example, if I link all this, I'm selecting right now. Remember, I'm selecting 3 to 6. Create project charter to charter created. And if I click the link button, you will see project initiation duration, which is now 10 days, will change. Now, just select them and click link. Now it's 16 days. And the 16 days is 10 plus 5 plus 1 plus 0, obviously. 0 doesn't add. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to finish the building the hierarchy, because this is the next thing you're going to need to do in a lab assignments, is to create the hierarchy. So I'm going to do it the same way it is in the spreadsheet. I'm going to select the items under site identification. There are 3 of them. Select them and click indent. Right, that's how you do it. I'm going to select the items on the pre-feasibility study, and I'm going to indent them. I'm going to select the item under feasibility study and indent. I'm going to select the item under financial contract and indent. It's just telling the software that I have deliverables and sub-deliverables. That's what this really means. The indentation is what you've done with your work breakdown structure, and you're just doing it in Microsoft Project. You could do that like with a Word document, but a Word document wouldn't be able to, like a word chart, but it wouldn't create estimate for you. So I'm going to select the items under detailed design and indent. And for constructions, it's going to be a little bit tricky, because you see site preparation is under constructions. I'm going to indent that once. But on-site mobilizations is indented under site preparation. So I have to do it twice. 1, 2, right? So it's been phase deliverables, sub-deliverables, and then project activities will be indented under the last deliverables, which you may call a work package if you wanted to. So I have to do it 1, 2, and 3. See that? Awesome. All right. Now, access Word up until commissioning, all of this is we'll go under construction, so I just need to do it once. And then monitor and control activities are under control, monitoring and controlling. And I have a bunch of things under project closing, and I'm going to end that, and I'm done. Right? So that's how we did it. Awesome. Now remember, when you're doing it from scratch, you could be typing here, or you could use AI to create deliverables, sub-deliverables, and you just probably need to copy and paste them. Now, obviously, AI can't work on project for you yet, but you could use AI such as Gemini, ChatGPT, Copilot to give you ideas about deliverables, sub-deliverables, work packages, and project activities. Now, the thing you need to know in order for you to do well is to know the difference between the nomenclature of a project deliverable and a project activity. As you can see here, project activities always start with a verb, right? And they're gonna always be at the lowest level in a project schedule. And here, same thing here, as you can see, I have a construction, site preparation, on-site mobilizations, and I have a bunch of project activity is here. So that's the way it is should be done. So that's a perfect example of what the hierarchy is supposed to look like, right? Now, when you have relationship between the project activities, they're gonna go in a columns that we call the predecessors column, right? So this was populated here automatically when I select those activities and link them. It just tells me those activities are linked in a finish to start relationship. Now, when you create a project schedule, all sub items must be linked. This is the only way you can create. What did you say? What? I didn't hear that. Anyway, so the only way you're going to create a closed network diagram, and every network diagram must be a closed diagram, every project activities must have a predecessor, except the first one. As you can see here, the only, when I'm done with here, the only activity that will not have a predecessor is the first one. Just like we practice in class. Activity A is the first activity, then it doesn't have a predecessor. And every activity will have a successor except the last one. So what I'm going to do to work very quickly, and I am going to go back to the spreadsheet, right? And I'm going to copy this information about the predecessors, about the relationship. So in this column here, I can copy the information. All the way down. And I have to remember that this tree has to be right in front of prepare stakeholder analysis. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to go back to the project file. I'm going to go to prepare stakeholder analysis. It's already a 3, so I can just copy and paste these informations here, right? Now, if I can click on view and zoom the project to see what it's looked like. This is what it looks like. Now, as you can see, most of the activities here are in a finish to start relationship. Now, that's not a good way to plan. You should have things that can be done at the same time, should be done at the same time. And some activities, remember, some activities can have lead lag time. But what I'd like you to do now, as we're going to go back to the lab to make sure we cover everything one by one. So when you finish doing what I've just done, you should have a project durations of 736 days. Now, if you have that, it means you've done it properly. We've done it together. Now, if you don't have 736 days, this means you missed something. Okay. So now tell me in the chat if you had 736 days, or type in the chat whatever the amount you have for the durations of the project. Can type in the chat. Now remember, this is there is no problem with this because this is informal learning. We're doing this, just for as part of creating learning opportunities in the network. But this isn't graded stuff. You can, whether you get it right or wrong, it's not a problem. You just want to make sure you get your lab right? So I only see one number here. Did anyone else try to do this? I just need to know the number you got. Okay. So there are many reasons why you wouldn't get 736. The reason is, the first reasons you didn't copy and paste the relationships properly, or you miss the indentation part. You miss something here. For example, when you were indenting, you may have missed something. For the most part, students miss something here in the construction side. Just make sure you have the indentation properly. Otherwise, you may miss it 2 days, or if you have 694, that's usually the case. Do you have any questions before we move forward? Because now we're ready. We have enough data, enough information to go and do the rest of the things we need to do. Coordinate.
Yeah, that other file that you copied everything over to this MS project. Did you share that with everyone? Because I've been looking for it and cannot find it, unfortunately.
Okay. Did you receive an email from me for the invitation? I sent you.
Yes. So,
I sent you a zip file.
So it was in that first initial email.
Yes. Can anyone share it in the chat? The spreadsheet.
I shared it. I shared it in the chat.
Okay, so what he needs is the spreadsheet, not the PDF file.
Okay, I have to reshare it again. But I got 736, Professor.
Okay, it is in the chat. Henry shared it. Yeah, that's the file we're using.
Let me share it again.
Thank you.
Okay, I just shared it.
Okay. Anything else that I need to address before we move forward? So we do have some information. So what I'd like you to notice, remember, I created this. This information is for practice only. It's incomplete because some of the deliverables here are not detailed enough. As you can see, I have durations that are in weeks and durations and some duration in days. The best practice is to use one time unit, and the best time unit to use is day. So what Microsoft Project does is that it converted everything into days. That's why you have a final duration in days, because when you enter 10 weeks, then Microsoft Project converts that into days based on the calendar we are using. So that's something we're going to do again. Now, let's go back to the lab. We set a start date for the project. Remember, we've already done that. Lakshmi, please. Go ahead.
Professor, I just want to know, as we are talking about the dates, how to add the holidays like on that project timelines. For example, if we have like a Christmas holiday of 2 weeks, how do we add it on our spreadsheet?
Okay, we just return here to the lab. So we're going to set non-working days. Okay, that's perfect.
Yeah, thank you.
So number 4, that's what Lakshmi is asking about. So I'm going to do it now. Let's go back to Microsoft Project and click on the Project tab, right? So click on the Project tab and click on Change Working Time. Now, in Change Working Time, this is actually a very important feature because you may be working on a bunch of projects in your organizations. And if you are the person responsible to develop the plans, it is an important task. It requires patience, is tedious because you need to reach out to people to make sure they're going to be available, take account for the vacation times. People don't usually plan the sick time, but they plan their vacation. So they're going to tell you when they plan to take vacations. Then you can create a calendar for those people to make sure you don't schedule them to work. Now, if I wanted to, let's say my company works 5 days a week, but I'm working on a project that only runs 4 days a week within that organization, then I'd have to create a calendar for my project. Right now, I'm working with the standard calendar, right? But if I wanted to create a project calendar for my project, I would just come here and then in Change Working Time. And this is where I would create a new calendar. So you can see here, you can create a new calendar, give it a name of your project. Let's say call it CPS plant, right? And then it's a copy of the standard calendar, and then you go and then you make the changes you want. Right now, we're not going to create an entire new calendar because 4-day calendar or taking people's vacation into considerations, but we're going to just do what the lab asked us to do. Number 4 is the fact that here it says during the week of December 25th and the following week, there will be the company will be closed, right? So the 2 weeks, we're going to set them as non-working time. Let's go first to the time. Remember, the project will start next week, next year, and the week of December 25th and the next week. So that's December 26th is here. Like it's going to be a Friday. So if we want to include that, or if you want to take the entire week, so it says the week of December 25th, it could be this week and the next week. That's gonna be part of January test, but your company would obviously give you the detailed information here. So we're going to give it a name. We're going to call it the holiday. No work, right? So we're going to enter the date here. Pretty easy to do. We're going to say this week and then the next week. So that's will end here this Friday. You know, thinking it, most companies would close for this amount of time. So what I'd like you to do is, once you do it like this, is to go to detail and in range of recurrence here, just enter when it's gonna end. Right? And then click OK. Click OK here. As you can see, non-working days are usually in gray, and you can see this is already turned gray. So when project schedule people to work, the software already knows that not to assign people to work on these days, and the software will skip them. And then you click OK again. In AI language, this is what they call expert system. This is information you enter, the software will act accordingly. So any work that was supposed to be scheduled, even if you didn't pay attention to it, again, the software already knows that. Then if you schedule people to work, then it's going to skip it. So that's very, very cool thing to do. Now, that's how you do number 4. Now, you can always, as you can see, remember, when you do it, remember to click OK and OK. And if you want to go back and check, make sure that when you go back and check, it's gray, still gray. So that's how you know it's work. And I can go back here. What was it again? And I know it worked. So that's fine. Right? So that's how you do it, Lakshmi. That's pretty standard. We've done this. Now the next thing to do is to enter your deliverables and sub-deliverables. We just done that. We done it by copying and pasting from the spreadsheet. Remember, you may be copying and pasting from something else, AI, or you can type informations directly into Microsoft Project. Now, make sure you follow the instructions to have the minimum to fulfill the minimum requirements of your assignment. Now, break down work packages into project activities. We've done that here. We've done that here. We broke down project initiation into activities. We broke down on-site mobilizations into project activities. So as long as you have complete information from the lab. It doesn't matter what you do, because they don't tell you what exactly to do, what exactly you need to break down. As long as you have project activities, project deliverables in the quantity required, then that should be good enough. So for creating the hierarchy, we have already done it. We actually very effective. To create a hierarchy, you use the indent outdent feature. Indent to indent tasks, and the outdent, if you want to change that, you want to undo whatever you've done, you can do that. For example, you can select this, and if you outdent it, and then you outdent it, you can see it's just gonna outdent it. But I want this to be indented here. And next thing is to use the default WS coding system in Microsoft Project to code your work breakdown structure. So in Microsoft Project, this is pretty easy. You could do it manually by going in the name and enter the informations here, but we're not going to do it. We're going to do it automatically. We're going to click on Gantt chart format, right? And Gantt chart format, and click outline number. Check this box, outline number. As you can see here, I don't have any number near my project schedule item name. If I check this box, then I create the codes. Now I know site identifications is code 1.3, right? And that's level 2, obviously, because level 1 is the project, right? So that's what we just done here, and that's very, very easy to do. So practically, this is the end of lab 1. Why do I have all this thing here? Okay. Questions? Now we've done this one. So as you can see, this is very, very easy to do. 1, 2, 3, 4. Questions. Now, if you go back to project information and click on here, as you can see, I have a start date for my project, which is Monday, the second week of January next year, and I do have an estimate for my finish date, which is November 21st, 2028. So that's an estimate that the project management software created for me based on the duration I entered here, based on the relationship I created, and that's what you have here. Hello, did I say your name wrong?
Yeah. Hello, Professor. Please, can you go over the code, your work breakdown structure again? I kind of missed that.
Oh, you missed that. Oh, no
yes,
problem.
Please. Thank you.
So to do that, I did click on Gantt chart format, and check this square box outline number.
Thank you, got it.
Hey, Professor, can you please show one Gantt chart example, like making a Gantt chart here quickly?
This is a Gantt chart on the right.
But it doesn't say any activities here.
Oh, you mean the activities are not
Yeah, like so when we do the I mean when we do a assignment or something, we have to submit a Gantt chart, right? With the activities on the left side, maybe like how do I say?
well, this is, as you can see, this is, if you take a look at the right,
Yeah.
on the left side, it's a Gantt chart, right?
Yeah.
So this is a way Microsoft Project display a Gantt chart with the activities here, right? In this case, we have deliverables and activities. We even have milestone. Now, for milestone, this is a milestone. As you can see, chart created 0 days, and it's here, and the Gantt chart, and the Gantt chart to the right. And do I have another milestone? If you want to see the milestones, look for where you have 0 duration.
0 days, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know how many I entered here. Yep, I have customer final acceptance secured and project complete. I only have 2 milestones here. Now, this is a Gantt chart. Now, the Gantt chart here are the bars, and that shows relationship among the project activities. That's what we call a Gantt chart. Gantt chart can look, different depending on the software you're using or the view you're looking at. Actually, you could change colors. You can do a lot of things here. Chris.
Yes, I wanted to know how can you create a WBS diagram with that information?
With that information, you've actually already created the network diagram. So if you click on view, right, then you'd have to click on network diagram, right? You just need to click on it, right? And then you have a network diagram. Now, in project, unfortunately, let's see if I zoom in or zoom out. The network diagram in Microsoft Project, because you have so many, a bunch of activities, it can be messy. And depending on the size of your screen, you can, it might be very difficult for you to visualize it. But once you create these activities, linking project activities, you create a network diagram, right? And that's an excellent question to ask here. Now, in a good network diagram, remember, this is where I'm going to really give you a good hint so you don't miss any points in your lab assignment. Every activity has a predecessor and a successor. You could actually accept the first one. Now, take a look here. All these activities have a link, right? And high-level planning is a deliverable. I didn't break it down because we're not going to do detailed planning here. However, it is a link. The predecessor is activity 6, the milestone. However, take a look here. I didn't link site identification. And I'm not going to assign resources to it either. And the reason for that is because it's a summary task. You don't link summary tasks, you link the subtasks. If you link the subtasks, if you make sure that all the subtasks of a summary task are linked, then you're all set. You see here, I link the first activity of site identification, or the first item, with the previous one. So for that, 9 and 7 are linked. You can see 7 is the predecessor, which means here, in this case, high-level planning. Same thing here. I don't link the summary task, pre-feasibility study, but I link the subtask with the last item of the predecessor deliverable. So 13 is linked with 11. And same thing here, 18 is linked with 16. So by doing this, I do link pre-feasibility study with feasibility study, not directly though, with the subtask, right? I link the last task of this with the first task here, right? So that's how you do it. Now, by doing so, your project actually has a closed network, and there is no there is no task here without a predecessor. Now, if 35 didn't have a predecessor, that would be a huge mistake. It means that the software wouldn't account for the duration. If this didn't have a predecessor, that would have been a problem. Now, that's how you know you have a closed network, by looking at whether every single task has a predecessor and a successor. Obviously, the milestones are also linked. The only thing that I didn't link directly is the summary task, but I did link all the subtasks.
Okay, and for an actual project, or for example, for our class project, where do we get the predecessors?
Oh, you determine that.
Okay.
So in order for you to determine that, you must understand basic project management right?
Okay.
I know project initiation is done before planning. I know project planning is done before project executions, and that's what you're looking at my file right now. Planning comes before site identification. Site identifications come before pre-feasibility study and feasibility study. I know that because just common sense to me, because I'm familiar with the project. I know in order for me to do pre-feasibility on a site, I must find the site first, right? So that's how you decide what's come first, what's come next, by having a basic understanding of the project.
So
No,
is
no,
it basically
I mean
assumption?
the numbers. I mean the numbers.
Oh, those numbers are. You mean
yeah,
those
not
numbers?
the order. Yeah, not the order. I meant the numbers. Yeah.
You mean the numbers here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh no. Well, the numbers represent activity IDs. You know, number 3. Number 3 is create project charter. Number 3 here, that's number 3, create project charter. I just know when I link create project charter with prepare stakeholder analysis, I know I create the project charter first. Instead of having project charter in the predecessor column, Microsoft Project entered the ID of the task instead of the task name. Is that what you were asking?
Yeah. Where do we get that number? Because for example, like 3, 4, 5, 6, then space obviously, because
the numbers are the IDs to the left. You see those IDs to the left column?
Oh, yeah, perfectly.
You see this number here? These are the numbers. So when I say task ID 3, I'm talking about create project charter. And those IDs are assigned automatically. When you enter a task in Microsoft Project, it gives an ID.
Yeah, now I got it. Like, where do that number come from? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. I think someone else had something to say. Any other questions here?
Yes, Professor. Hi, Professor.
Hi.
Yes, please. I wanted to ask you, could you please explain the hold on now, the outline numbers? So when you say 1.1, what does it mean? When you say 1.1.1.1, what does it mean? Can you please explain that?
Oh, it's just the level of the composition. For example, the project is 1. The sub-deliverables under the projects are 1.1 for the first one, 1.2 for the second one, 1.3 for the third one, etc., right? So when I take 1.1, which is project initiation, I can break it down further. So that's why you see 1.1.1. That's, it's mean this is sub items of project initiations, which is 1.1. That's how it's
it has nothing to do with the levels of the project, right?
It has to do with the level of the hierarchy.
Of the hierarchy.
Yeah.
Okay, because I am asking because in one of our assignments, group assignments, so it was to do a WBS showing level 1, level 2. So we all know that the project itself is level 0, right? And then
the project, according to what we learn in our lectures, is level 1. The project is level 1.
Okay, fine. Project is level 1. And then the deliverables will be level 2.
Well, major deliverable level 2. Now, when you say level 1, think about the project as level 1 here. You're looking at my screen, right?
Yes, I am.
So this is level 1.
Yeah.
And if you take a look at 1.1, that's level 2. And that's level 2. This level 2, level 2, level 2.
Exactly. So my question is, I was expecting to see if project initiation is level 2, so it should be maybe like 1.2, and then high level planning will also be 1.2, and then like that. Okay.
So what you have to pay attention is the point, right? The period. So it says 1. Think about the project level 1. Think about it like, and then after that you have 1 point, and if you go further, you have 2 points. Those are the levels, right?
Yeah.
So that's how it is done. Now, according to PMI standards, there is no level 0, right?
Okay.
However, if Microsoft project is programmed to have a level 0, but it's gonna be the same as level 1 because level 0 is the name of the file. So if you click on Gantt chart format and you click on project summary task, it's gonna show you a level 0, but just the name of the file.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Yeah. So you can think about the project as level 1, right?
Okay. Thank you. What it is. All right. Thank you.
Sure. Do we have anything in the chat? Someone asked, okay, I showed how I put the codes. I guess I insert this. And why is it necessary to mention predecessors? I think that's how you create a network. And that's the idea of predecessors and successors is called workflow. You need to know how the work flows from start from beginning to end. So that's the idea of predecessors and successors. What come first? What come next? What's come before what comes after. So that's the whole idea of predecessors, successors. Okay, guys. Now, are you guys ready for to go forward with a little bit more of what we can do with this? You ready? Yes. No.
I have a question related to the assignment, the lab assignment related to the project.
Okay.
In this case, for the duration numbers, we have to come up with them.
Yes, you create the estimate. And remember, express everything in days. And we talk about, anyone here remembers the 880 rule? No? 880 rule. Anyone knows what that is?
Can you elaborate on that, please?
Yeah, I do.
Where a work breakdown is supposed to be done within like more, it shouldn't be less than 8 hours or more than 80 hours.
It should be what?
A work package not be less than 8 hours.
No less than 8 hours, no more than 80 hours.
Yes.
Right, that's correct. Now, when you are estimating, keep things, between 1 day and 10 days, if you can, but express everything in days. Don't mix up weeks and days, just like I'm showing you here. And I'm showing you this to tell you this project was a project where I didn't break it down because I didn't want to have a bunch of things to show you in a demo, right? But for your project, work with one-time unit, okay? Perfect. Now, I'm going to give you a moment to think about this. Like, I'm gonna take 2 minutes to refill my coffee, and then we're going to go through to the rest of the thing we need to do today. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, I'm ready. Are you ready?
Yes.
Yes, Professor.
Okay, perfect. Now, okay, so let's go with 2. Now remember, the only way actually to take full advantage of the software in terms of finish date estimation is to be always in auto schedule. So I'd like you to remember that. And the way to look is to check your task mode. If you see a pin, it means it's manually scheduled, right? If you see a pin like this, it's manual, but you have to make sure that it is in auto schedule like this, okay? It's a gun bar with an arrow, okay? So that's when, before you submit your file, always click on the entire column, click on task and click auto schedule. And then that's the thing to do, okay? So let's take a look here. Estimate and enter durations. So you already know how to do that. Remember, duration, it isn't something that your instructor is going to correct. In other words, they don't expect you to get duration estimates that are perfect. You can just guess what that would be. Okay, so the next thing is to add a task note to say how you came up with the duration. For example, here, I can show you here. I'm going to create, I'm going to ask a task note here, just select it. Yeah. When you select a task and you click on the task tab, there is information here. You can click on the task information and add a note. Estimation here, I use expert judgment. Now, if you enter a note here, it shows you a little thing in yellow, right? So that little thing in yellow is the thing that tell people that actually there is a note here for them to see, right? So when they go and take a look at the note, they're gonna see what the note says. So just tell them, what is my estimate here? I use expert judgment to estimate the duration of this task. And that's what they're going to see here, all right? You can add a note anywhere you'd like to add a note. So for example, here, you could say, well, this was parametric estimate. All right. If this is true, then or not, no one will go and check to see what happened, because that's just in this case they just want to make sure you understand you can add notes and communicate with your teammates. Okay. How about here? So we've done that. So this is down. And this is down. Add at least 3 milestones, right? So that's where I'm going to go back here to show you that I have 3 milestones. Remember, now take a look to see how the milestone is formatted. Let's see. This is this has a verb in the past tense at the end, and it has 0 duration. That's pretty standard. So let's do this for the other milestone. Where it is. And this is the last one. You don't have to highlight anything. I'm just showing you here where they are, right? Okay. Questions? No?
In this case, why do you select those specifically?
Because these are the milestones. That's why I select them.
Okay.
You identify them by because they have 0 days?
No, well, they are milestones because they tell me when the charter will be created. They not real project activities. They just schedule markers with 0 duration. Okay, and if you look at the gun bar, they shown with a black diamond. That's what all milestones look like. 0 durations, past tense, verb past tense at the end, and then a black diamond. Now take a look at this one. Same thing here, right? 0 durations, black diamond. Project complete, 0 duration, black diamond. I select them so you can see how a milestone is structured. You see there is a difference between prepare final report. This is an activity with 4 days duration. And there is the customer final acceptance secured, 0 days, because it's not an activity. Just tell me when I can expect for this to happen. And in this case, based on my project schedule, I know it's October 31st, 2028, as you can see here. And this is why we always say milestones are always time bound, and they have 0 cost and 0 duration because they are scheduled markers that tell us when certain event will occur. So that's what milestones are. All right. And in your project, you're gonna decide whether you want a milestone after for the end of feasibility study, for the end of detailed design. You can have milestones anywhere to indicate the end of a phase, the start of a phase, because you can have, remember, start milestone, finish milestone, any way you see fit in your project. Okay? Whatever is important for you and your stakeholders. Okay, that's pretty good. We've done that. Task relationships, we've done that. Now, task relationship is when we tell the software how things will be done, finish to start, what is the predecessor, what is the successor. Now, what is funny here, interesting, I'd say, I need some activities to be start to start, right? And some that's going to be finish to finish, right? So I'm gonna go back and show you that I have some activities already that are start to start. For example, 45 and 33 have start to start relationship. Now, 43, 45 is equipment acquisition. Um, 33 is the site preparation. Now, if you wanted to link this to something else, like equipment acquisition, you could do set up site office and 45 in the start to start relationship, because based on my experience working on power plant construction, there are some equipment you need once you can lock a place, right? When you have space to lock them, whether it's a container or a womb, whatever that case is. So I could do 45 and 37 in a start-to-start relationship. I just type here 37 start-to-start. See that? Pretty easy to do. Now, they asked me for a finish-to-finish relationship. Carla, you are the one marking my screen. How do you do that? Okay. It's okay. You can do that if you want to. Okay. Now let's look at finish to finish, right? I'm looking for activities in my project that could be finish to finish. Okay, so let's do 47 and 48, right? The finish to finish. So I could do 47 FF. That's finish to finish. It's mean the predecessor activity must finish before the successor activity can finish. You see that? I can have start to start, finish to finish. Now, did anything? So that's how you remember. Scheduling is both an art and a science. The better understanding, if you are an expert in your field and you're managing project in this field, you're gonna have understanding of the nature of your project. Very few people will have. So then you'll understand what can be done in parallel, what must be done in sequence. Those things will come naturally. That's the whole idea of developing expertise in your field. Now, if I go back here, they asked me for to add lead and lag time, right? So we're gonna do that, lead and lag time. So I'm going to go back to project. What if I 45 and 37? I could add a lag time. So predecessor, the predecessor is 37. They have a start to start relationship. As you can see, durations of 37. The duration of 37 is 10 days. And this one is 10 days. So let's give it a lag. Am I doing lag or lead time? Well, let's do a lead time. A lead time is a negative lag. Let's do a lead time of 3 days. 3 days. Now you'd see here, there's a lead time of 3 days. A lag time is a waiting time. Now, let's take a look at pre-feasibility. There's a market assessment, and there's technical financial evaluation. 18 and 16 are linked. I'm gonna wait a couple of days after the market assessment before I start this one. So I'm gonna double click on it. And I'm going to go on predecessors, and I'm gonna give it a lag time of 5 days. A lag time is a waiting time. So you can see here, I have a lag time of 5 days here and a lead time of 3 days. The lead time is an acceleration, which means that I could start the predecessor activity before the I can start the success activity before the predecessor activity is complete. Or I can wait, I can finish to start with a lead time. Now, actually, let me remove this lead time here. I could delete that. It's gone. I could have I can have a lead time between 13 and 11. 13, where's 13? This is 13, 11 is 10 weeks. This is 6 weeks. That's pretty good. Lead time, lag time. Pretty close here. Now, right? So there are different ways to have access to this. When you click here, you can click on tasks, you can double click on it, or you can just click on tasks and task information. And the information is going to be under predecessor here, where you add this information. Now, do I have anything in the chat? Okay, no, don't have anything in the chat. Let's go and look at constraints, right? So constraint, deadline, and deadline. So when you're adding constraint, you have to be very careful because they impact your project schedule. As you can see here, development of WOF technical concept is scheduled to finish on July 23rd, 2027. So if I'm adding a constraint here, I'm going to add like a must finish on constraint. So I can double click here, or I'm just going to click on task information. So in the advanced tab in task information, for this particular task, if I say finish, must finish on, or no later than, I can select a date for the constraint. Then I have to make sure that it has actually something to do with the date that is already estimated for this project, July 23rd. I don't think no later than this date will tell me you set a finished no later than constraint for this. This could result in a sheet further. Cancel, continue. but avoid the conflict. And then you have a constraint here. That's a constraint date. All right. Right now, it didn't do anything to your project schedule yet because you didn't violate the estimated finish date for the project deliverable. So there is no problem with it. Now there is no conflict in this case. Okay. So there is something in the chart, I think. Everything I'm using here is actually you already have access to it. I just took it from Canvas. Okay, so what else we need to do? We need to display the critical path of the project. That's pretty easy, right? Right now, we just go click on View, Gantt chart view, right? Now, if you do a tracking Gantt, it should give you the critical path of the project. Now, anything that is highlighted in red, that's part of the critical path. Things in blue are not on the critical path. So that's what you have here. As you can see, I do have a lot of activities on the critical path. It's because I have so many activities that are planned, finished to start. So that's why. And I didn't have a lot of merge and burst activities in the project plan. So those are the things to keep in mind. So that's the critical path. Or another way to do this is to ask the software to list the tasks that are critical. Critical, yes, 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 yes. No, 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 no. Yes, yes, yes. But you can display it and you can make sure that in your case, the lab assignment asks you to display it, send you display it. I don't know how they're gonna know whether you display it or not. Let me see.
Professor, I have a question.
Yeah.
I want to know how can you erase the constraint because I had a problem with it and I have to rewrite it.
Okay. It's very yeah. So if you had a constraint, you need to remove it. You just click on the task where the constraint is, click on Task tab, and project information and advance, right? Remember, you had a constraint here, constraint type, change it to as soon as possible. Now, if you change that to as soon as possible is a soft constraint. You can, if you do that, then it's gone. See that? Mine is gone. You should be gone too. All right?
Got it. Thank you.
Okay.
I can now reconfigure that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Professor, can you show the critical path, how to add the critical path again?
To critical path, click on View, right? And go to here in Gantt chart, right? There's a drop-down button, right? And then click on Tracking Gantt. The Tracking Gantt is what shows the critical path.
Okay, thank you so much.
There is a Gantt view and there's a Tracking Gantt view.
Mm-hmm.
So if I go back to the Gantt view, then everything turned blue. No critical path is showing. Okay. But if I check the Tracking Gantt here, then I see the.
Oh, I see. Mm-hmm.
In my case, it does not change. It disappears actually.
What is
the
it?
bars on
Oh
the
yeah,
right.
you
The
just
bars on
click.
the right.
Yeah, click anywhere, and then click on View, and then zoom the project. Zoom the entire project. It should come up.
Zoom entire break. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I think there was a hand up. I'm sorry. Who that hand was again?
Hello, Professor. It's me. It's Rexford.
Rexford. Hey.
Yeah. The constraints that you showed us right now, it's more of like a schedule constraint, right? Okay, so now we have different kinds of constraints where we have budgets and then the scope. How is it being displayed, or how do we do the budget constraints on this one?
Oh, so you mean if you had a budget constraint?
Yes, please.
So I just showed you how to add a schedule constraint, right?
Yeah.
View. Let's see. What did I do? I click on tasks, and I click on task information, right?
Yep.
And then I click on advanced to add a schedule constraint, right? Now, if you had a cost constraint for any task, right? Now, let's say you had a cost constraint for identifications of potential site. What you would need to do, which isn't part of your lab, you would need to make it a fixed cost, right? So if you make anything a fixed cost, right?
Okay.
If you make it a fixed cost, then there is nothing that's gonna go over that. Then that's your constraint. Does that make sense? So that's pretty easy. We don't cover it here, but you're gonna cover fixed costs in when you go to other courses. I'm gonna hide it, but that's how you do it. You just make it a fixed cost.
Okay, thank you, Professor.
Yeah, sure. Anyone else? Anything in the chat? So let's see. I think I've done that. So let's see. The last thing I need to do, and then, is to save my file as a network diagram view. Okay. So practically, I think Chris already asked me that. I'm going to go to View, and I'm going to change my file to network diagram view. And and I'm gonna save it, right? If you click Save like this and you leave it like this, and if you submit it like this, when your instructor open it, is going to be in this network diagram view. So that's as simple as that. It may seem to be a complex thing, but it's not. So as you can see, we've done a lot of things so far, and in a very short time, we go through your lab with one project. Obviously, your project will be different because you're all working on different project, but you're going to be, if you use Microsoft Project or Project Libre, just repeat whatever we've done here, and you should be all set. Okay. Okay. So, yes. Hello.
Okay, Professor, I have a question. Looking at the network diagram, I'm trying to interpret it. I see different color codes, right? I see the red and I see the blue. Does it have a specific meaning? Is there a meaning attached What's the meaning?
There's a meaning. The meaning is anything red is on the critical path, anything blue is not. That's the only meaning of the colors. If it is red, it's a critical activity, which means it's on the critical path. If it is blue, it has slack time. It's not on the critical path.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Questions?
Can you zoom it out to see if we are on the same page?
I'm sorry?
Can you zoom out your network diagram just to check that we're on the same page?
Can I do what?
Zoom out the network diagram just to double check we're on the in the same structure.
What do you want me to do with it?
To zoom out.
Oh, zoom out. Okay.
Yes. Yes, please. Okay, perfect. We're the same. Thank you. I have a question about I remember we were talking about the last assignment, the work breakdown of structure, and you said that you were able to make a diagram from MS Project. So, but this diagram is different from the one you provided in your book that we have to do for the assignment of this past weekend. So is this the same diagram, just in a different shape, or there's another way to export WBS diagram?
Well, in the group assignment you submitted on Sunday, what you've done was creating, you created a work breakdown structure. A work breakdown structure and a network diagram are not the same thing. They're completely different.
Okay, and can you make a work breakdown structure here or not?
Can I, if I can show the network diagram or the WBS?
The WBS can be made from the MS Project software,
Yeah.
or
Well, yes, you could make a WBS from MS Project, but you need the WBS Schedule Pro to view it as a WBS chart. You see, are you looking at my screen?
Yes.
You need this add-on to just click on that. You see how it's look like a word chart. So
yes.
if you click on it, it will show a chart, and that's the only reason I added WBS Schedule Pro, which is from a company called Critical Tool. However, I was using a trial version and it's expired, so I won't be able to do it here. So it says correct problem, then repeat the operations. It's because it's expired.
Oh, okay,
but this is one. But if you use Project Libre, then you can just click on the chart and it's gonna show. That's the only thing, because Project doesn't show the chart. So what I would have done to create a work breakdown structure in Microsoft Project is just enter the WBS items and not the project activities. I wouldn't enter the project activities, just the WBS item, and then click on the diagram, and then it would show. But other than that, it's pretty easy to do. I just don't have this the feature right now. In MS Project, you can just create an outline, as you can see here.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Other questions before we move forward here? No? No questions? I think there is a possibility that Microsoft Project will add this feature very soon. Let's see. What else we need to do? We need to use the resource sheet in Microsoft Project to create resource pool. So we already have a resource pool here. This is the resource sheet. So it is in a spreadsheet. So what we're going to do, if we were to copy and paste this information into Microsoft Project, we just need to make sure the Microsoft Project resource sheet looks like that. So click on View and click on Resource Sheet, right? Click on View and click on Resource Sheet. All right. So what do we have? We have resource name, resource type, material label. This is material label. And max unit. In other words, we don't have initial, we don't have groups, then we're gonna hide them, right? So remember, I go to resource sheet, I hide initials and group. You can always hide things and then pull them back. Over time, we don't have over time here. So I'm going to hide over time. Do I have cost per use? Yes, I have cost per use, CUDAT, and base, right? So that's what I need. Now, when you're ready, just take this information from Microsoft Project. I just need from Project Manager. I don't need the top, just Project Manager, from Project Manager, and I'm going to copy all the way down. Copy all the way down. And I'm going to go back to the Microsoft Project file. I'm going to put my cursor here and then paste. Okay, no, that's not how I want. It's only copied one. There we go. Just put your cursor here and Control V, or if you're using Windows. If you are using Mac, I don't know what to do. It's Control V or right click and paste, right? I use Windows, right? So the only way what we're going to do gonna work is if you have standard rate, if you have money in standard rate. So in material label, we're going to copy unit and other things. And we're going to make sure we enter it and start in front of control system. Where's control system? Yeah. There we go. And I save. This is what we got. Now, when you're ready, let me know. Just type ready in the chat if you're ready. Now, obviously, if you're working from scratch, you just go to view and resource sheet and you enter the list of your resources. Now, what do I have to explain from here? What you have to explain is that in resource name, you can have the name of, you can have people's name, like the name of a person for project manager, Jane, for example, or you can leave them as roles if you don't have a specific name. So the project manager is a role, but we may know who's going to play this role, then we add their names in there. If we don't, we just leave it like that. Now, for your file, for your lab assignment, you're gonna decide whether you work with specific people or roles. Now, as you can see, project manager is full-time. I have 2 project administrators working full-time, and several project coordinators. Here, it is indicating that there are 5 of them, or whichever way they're working. So that's important to remember. Max unit is about resource availability. Tells me how many people I have, or in terms of resource availability. So that's what you're looking at here.
Why is it in percentages instead of like 1, 2, 3, just numbers? There are reasons specifically?
It's the setting in Microsoft Project. Okay. But it could be 1, 2, 3, right? And if you had someone working part-time, like half-time, it would be 0.5. You could work like that, but it's just setting and percentage right now.
Okay. So yeah, like 100 equal to 1. 3,500 is equal to 35.
Yeah, 100% means on the project calendar, I am available 100% of my time. It means my time isn't split with anything else. I don't have any other job within the company I'm doing. I'm available 100% to work on this project for the specific period of time. So it just indicates your availability to work full-time, part-time, or part-time could be half-time or less than that, or more than that. So that's the way it's done now.
Okay. And for the lab assignment for our project, our group project is we have to come up with these numbers, like the standard rate and max units.
Yep. Yeah, you have to come up with the pay rate, which means that you're gonna guess what they are, and whether people work full-time, part-time, it's entirely up to you. You are the boss of your project.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so what else I need? I create a resource sheet. Now I'm going to assign. So I have the standard rate. Now I'm gonna assign project resources to project activities. So that's pretty easy. Once I have a list of resources, I could go to the Gantt view with the entry table. Now I'm going to assign resources to the project activities. Now remember, no resources are assigned to milestones, all right? And no resources are assigned to summary tasks. So on Create Project Charter, I'm going to assign resources. So what I do, I click on Resource, Assign Resources. For Create Project Charter, I'm going to assign the project manager and the project coordinator. I can use the Control key to do that, to select different resources. I open once this window is open, project manager, project coordinator, project administrator. I select all 3 at the same time. right? I select all three at the same time, and I click Assign. So when I click Assign, they're gonna show up in this resource name column. Now, if you look, they are assigned here. And if you look here, I have to switch to my Gantt view. If you switch on the Gantt view, you can see here, project manager, project coordinators, project administrators are assigned to create the project charter, right? That's how you do it. You just repeat this process. You select the activity, you click on resource, you click on assign resources, you select the resources you need, because remember, the money, the pay rates are already there. So when you assign people to work, then project will start accumulate the cost of the resources per hour. So based on the amount of hours this is going to be on the work. So that's how it's done. Now, right now, because we have limited time, I'm not going to go and do this repetitions for every task. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the spreadsheet. I'm going to take the resource assignment, right? I'm going to copy it. So I showed you the way it's done from scratch. Now I can just copy it. I'm going to go back to the project here. And I'm going to paste it here. All right. So that's how it's done. But you know how to do it. It just select the activity and go to the resource tab and then click assign resources, and you assign the resources you need. Now, when we go further in project scheduling and cost planning, we're going to talk about effort-driven scheduling technique. And we're going to have a conversations about, when you're assigning resources, whether you have to assign everyone at the same time. And if you assign people and you assign people again, then project gonna think that you're gonna try to reduce the duration of the task by assigning more resources to it. We're gonna go through this in further detail later. But for now, this isn't matter for your lab assignment. So I'm gonna focus only on what matters here. Now, if you take a look at your project statistics, click on project information, project statistics. You can see here you have a cost for your project, but you don't have a baseline yet because we didn't set a baseline yet. You can't set a baseline until you have contingency reserve, right? So we have to talk about contingency reserve before the end of this workshop, okay? So I'm gonna go back to this. I assign resources. So that's doesn't matter really. Now, do I have over allocation? Now, to check for over allocation, check to see whether you click on view here and resource sheet to see if you have any resources highlighted in red. Now, if you have any resources highlighted in red, then you have an over allocation. To solve over allocation, you just click on resource and you click level all. Remember, we talk about resource leveling. That's what it will do for you, level all, right? I can, give you demonstrations later, but I have to do the most important part first. Let me go back to to the Gantt view and see what they ask me next. Is to add the contingency reserve. Now, to add the contingency reserve.
Professor?
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you short. On checking my resource sheet now, I have two resource names that seem to be, I don't know, it looks like it's showing red. My project manager and the civil engineer.
Okay, yeah. So it's looked like we have a little bit of a difference in what we have, but you just level them. Yeah, click on the resource and level all.
All right.
Yeah. So now, where was
Professor? Sorry, I had the same issue with the civil engineer, and now I pressed the level all button, but this says this overallocation cannot be resolved. It said skip all, stop.
Well, that's
because it says civil.
I have the same thing too. The civil engineer is showing the same thing.
It says it cannot be resolved.
I mean, it says this over allocation cannot be resolved. Civil engineers over allocated because of the combined assignments of summary task site preparation and its subordinates on Monday of a date.
So the reason for that is because you assign the civil engineer on a summary task. Now, if you look here, wherever you see the civil engineer assigned to a summary task, delete it.
Okay, and it says skip all, stop. What do I do? Or should I just erase in summary? Yeah, I mean, after you press level
well, all, you don't delete the summary task. You delete the resource assignment. You delete the resource from the summary task by deleting it from the resource names column.
Okay.
What were you doing? You were deleting the task?
No. When I press the level all, and it shows the message that I just told you. It says to continue leveling other over allocated resources, skip. To continue leveling and skip over allocations that cannot be resolved, skip all. And to stop the current leveling operation, please stop.
I understand. Can you see my screen actually?
Yes.
Okay, so check to see where you have the civil engineer assigned to a summary task.
Okay, I did that already. Yeah, it worked.
Yeah, so delete it and then go back and level it.
Okay. Okay. Done.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah, I just deleted I had it like in 5 different tasks. I just deleted in one, and it's now resolved.
No, in a summary task, not in all tasks. So I think it was showing in, I think, monitoring and controlling initially. No, it was showing in site preparation. Can you check your site preparation?
Yes. I did it on that one, and then the other.
Well, I said whether you see the civil engineer assigned to a summary task.
A summary task, yes.
Okay.
Just a summary
Perfect.
That's what I said.
Thank you. It's been resolved.
Okay. Okay. So I guess we're done with this. Let's take a look here.
Professor, before something happens with the virtual machine, what do we do when we run out of hours?
When you run out of hours, there are instructions in the document, the Word documents that we shared with you on how to add hours on your own. You just go to a portal, add the hours to your machine. If you have any problem doing it, which you shouldn't, you can just reach out to IT, and the number to call IT is also provided in the instructions.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Sure. Okay. Now, the only thing we're missing here is the contingency reserve. So to add contingency reserve, the instructions telling me that it's going to be 10% of the cost of my project. So what is the cost of the project? Can anyone find it? Project information. The cost here for now is $858,320, right? And we just need 10% of that, which is going to be $85,000. To be exact, $85,832. You don't have to be exact, at least not for me. Maybe for other instructors, they want you to be exact. But here's how to add this contingency. To add the contingency, I'm going to click on View. I'm going to click on Resource Sheet. And I'm going to create a new resource here called Contingency Reserve. I'm going to call it a cost type resource, all right? Anyone done that? So when you're done, go to the Gantt chart view and select places where you'd like to add contingency. Now, the way this is done is by looking at your project, based on your knowledge of the project, you may have identified some risks that may impact your project, and you perhaps you want to have some reserve set aside for those project activities. In my case, I'm going to have a $20,000 reserve here, and then there, and then there. So until I, allocate all my reserves. So I click on wherever I want to add the reserve, click on resource assignment, and I'm going to add the contingency reserve, look for it. On identification of potential size, I have a reserve of 20 grand. And on let's see, market assessment, I'm going to add the contingency reserve of 10 grand. I'll just type it and press enter or assign. And then in land acquisition, I'm going to add a reserve of 50 grand, assign. So I do that, repeatedly until I'm done. So if I close this and I go back to the resource sheet to check, you could apply or add the cost column here to see whether you can see here, I have added 80 grand to my project. Now, whether I have cost 0 here, I mean, I didn't use those resources yet. Now, if you go back to project information, project statistics, the cost of the project include the contingency reserve. Now, because I have my project costs, I don't have any other allocation. If I'm happy with my plan, I can go to the Gantt chart view, look to see if there is anything here. I don't see any other allocation. I don't have a bunch of constraints in my plan. So I can just click on project, right? And I click on set baseline. Before I set the baseline, I'd like you to take a look at the project information again, project statistics. You can see if you don't have a baseline, you don't have any, you can't perform variance analysis or earned value analysis. So it says NA right now, not applicable. You don't have a baseline yet. But if you click on set baseline and you set the baseline for the entire project, and you go back to project statistics, now you do have a baseline. Now in your baseline,
can you repeat the baseline, please?
Oh, sure. To set the baseline, you click on the project tab, you click on set baseline, and then you set the baseline for the entire project, right? Now, right now, it tells me I already have a baseline, and I don't want another baseline, so I cancel it. But that's how you do it. Shamista.
What is the importance of this baseline? What actually it signifies?
Well, a baseline is important for performance measurement. It's like a standard. If a project that's going to last that long, at any point in time, you should be able to check to see what you're doing. Is it in alignment with the baseline? In other words, are you doing things as planned? Because the baseline is your baseline plan. So it is what's going to be used to measure your performance later. It's your best plan. Are you doing things as planned? So that's the questions you can ask yourself, after 6 months, after a year, after a year and a half. So you can always compare your performance with the baseline. It's like your best self or the best picture of your project.
Okay, so can you use the percentage of work already done as a baseline?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, because if you take a look at project informations here, you click on project statistic, you can track person complete at the bottom.
Yeah.
In terms of durations and work. Right? That's all done with the baseline.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
When you added the contingency reserve, you show that in the reserve sheet, it actually appeared the sum amount of all the different contingency reserve you assign. I didn't get that value in the resource sheet. How can?
Well, if you go back to the resource sheet, right? Did you create a resource called contingency reserve?
Yes.
Now, did you enter the cost column here?
No, that's the one I'm missing.
Or you just click on the header and type costs.
That is right. Perfect. Yeah, got it now. Thank you.
Anyone else? Any other questions? Okay. So the last thing I'm going to do is to show Shamista's questions in practice. So when you take a look at my project statistics, as you can see here, there is no actual cost. There is no actual finish or actual start differences. I have a baseline. I have no actual duration because, you know, it's not a the project has started yet. And I have no actual costs because I didn't tell the software how, which of those activities are completed, or whether I didn't report progress to the software. The software doesn't know whether I've done any work or not. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tell the software to conclude this workshop. I'm going to tell the software, you know, this project will not start until January 12th of next year. However, I did complete the project charter, and I did prepare a stakeholder analysis, and I had the kickoff meeting already. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select them of the milestone 2. And I'm going to click on tasks, and I'm going to tell the software that I complete those 100%. This is what I need to provide a progress update without me telling the software that there's no way it's gonna know whether, you know, it's using AI or not. I need to give some information, and the information I'm provided here is to tell the software that I completed this. But notice that I'm doing all this after I have a complete plan, I have baseline, etc. So when I say 100% complete, then the software put a check mark here in the indicator column, which indicates that those tasks are completed. Now, if you go back to project statistic, you're gonna see some actual values. Actual values, the money I've spent for the project coordinator, project administrators, project managers cost 21 grand, most precisely $21,600. That's actual values. Now, that's because some project activities, like planning and initiation of project activities, cost money, and I typically can, you can incur those costs or expenses before the executions of the project. Now, it is true I tell the software that I did complete them, 100% complete, but I didn't tell the software how. Did I complete them on time, or did I complete them, like, in terms of duration? Did they take me 10 days? I had some money plan actually for it. Did it cost more or less? So if I click insert here, I insert a column, I could say actual duration or actual cost. It means that I can always compare planned duration. This is my planned duration, and this is my actual duration, right? Now, remember, when you take a look at project statistics, there is no difference between the baseline and the current, right? That's because there is no there is no discrepancy between what I plan to do and what I've done. But what if there is? If there is a difference, I'd need to tell the software. For example, I can tell the software that I plan to spend, in my baseline, create project charter was planned for 10 days. But what if it took me 15? I could change that to 15. What if this took me longer than 5 days? What if it took me 10 days? So here, you can see I do have a difference. Now, this difference, you can see if you go back to your project statistics, you can see there is actual that's higher than 21,600. The current is, instead of 538, it's now, instead of 938, it's 952. Because I took longer to complete certain project activities, then the project's gonna cost a little bit more money. And there is no finished variance because those activities didn't have enough. I have a bunch of slack times in other activities, but as you can see, cost is different. And in terms of duration, percent complete work, I have some additional information here. Now, so that's how you look at reporting progress. And when you report progress, you're gonna have a discrepancy whether you finish things on time or ahead of time or behind schedule. And if you look into view, this is called the entry table. You could change the table to replace it with a cost table, a tracking table, a variance table, a work table, a usage table, or more tables, an earned value table. And if you click apply, then it's showing you an earned value table with a variance at completion, which tell me that if I keep, completing things behind a schedule like this, then I'm gonna have a variance at completion at the end of my project. So I can anticipate at this point that I'm going to have a budget deficit of $14,400. However, there is a catch there. The catch is that I'm not far enough in the project to have valid earned value information. I can always look at these numbers, but their significance isn't the same as if I was a quarter into the executions of the project. So these earned value indicators, they're useful, but they don't really give you valid information to make any decisions right now, because you're just working on initiating activities which represent a very small proportion of the project duration. But you can still use this information to tell people what is the trend you're seeing in your project. Do you have a cost variance? It's not enough yet to show anything, but you could look at your project statistics to see what's going on there. So that's very useful. Very useful information. So that's that's practically what I have for you here. Remember, project statistics, current is what the project think that the software thinks your project will cost based on the current scenario, current situation. And the baseline is your plan, what you estimate based on the pay rate, etc. So you can always compare to see whether you have a discrepancy and what's going to happen at the end of your project. So that's going to be all for this workshop. Now I'm going to turn on my camera and take your questions. I'm going to go back to the entry table. Yeah, questions. I'm ready for you. No? No questions? Shamista.
So suppose I need to present my project management plan to my stakeholder or some of my senior manager. So what will be the best way to present the material? Like what about the plan I made? Or like, can I say, or like for Project Libre, we can save it in PDF and all. So what's the best way for MS project management?
What I'd say the best way to present is to use choose a PowerPoint or a presentation tool. There are many of them out there, interactive, but you would get project informations from project reports. You could create cost overview and other informations that is useful for your stakeholders to know at any particular point in your project. But you can always create reports, chart. If you use any add-on software that can create anything for you here, as you can see in project report, you can show what is in progress. You can create cost report, resource overview, etc. But for the most part, some stakeholders just want to see overview or summary information, so like milestones report. You can create this and paste them into slideshow, right? And do that.
Okay.
I think there's another name. Elo, you had your hands up.
Okay,
Thank you, Dr. Alex.
Yes, I do. So I didn't want to take you back, but when I created my resource sheets with the stakeholders and everyone involved in the project, and I imputed all details necessary, as soon as I went back to the Gantt chart, it's like everything disappeared. I don't know if anyone else is experiencing the same issues I'm having.
I think I did have the same thing. It's not an issue really. It's the software move things around. If you go back to the Gantt view, you put your cursor here anywhere, and then you zoom the project view. There's a zoom button here. I think this is on top. Zoom the project, the entire project. It should come back to you.
Professor, after creating the table, the spreadsheet, oh, yours is the same. Like each of the tasks expanded, like are more
You mean
thick.
you mean the cells?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, you could do it like this, but it would take time.
Yes.
If you click on tables, right, and then more tables, and then click edit, you see where it says name. I'm still
Edit.
sharing, right?
Okay.
Yeah, you see where it says
Yes.
name here, right?
Yes.
Now, if you click on header wrapping and click no, and text wrapping, click no, and click OK, and click apply. It's change. Very easy.
So no and no.
Yeah, what?
Okay.
Yeah.
Click OK. Apply. Okay, perfect. Now it's all back to normal.
Yeah, you could do it manually,
Thank
but you know, it would take longer. You just
Yeah,
do it
of
like
course.
Sorry,
And
Professor.
entry is the standard, right?
Professor,
Yes.
My question wasn't answered, please.
I'm sorry.
My question wasn't answered. The resource, the
When
resource.
you copy and paste the resources into
Yes.
the resource column, yeah, if you click anywhere, let's click on prepare stakeholder analysis, right?
Okay.
And then click on view, and then click on entire project.
Okay.
Did it come back?
Yes. I have the resource names on my Gantt chart. I'm talking about the resource sheet. Like if you go to the resource sheet under resources.
Okay, resource sheet, yeah.
Yeah.
These are gone, you said?
So after creating this, when I leave it, I can't come back to this. It's like everything disappears and I have to start creating it from the beginning. I don't
You
know
can't.
if
Okay.
other people.
Did you copy and paste into here?
Yes, I did from Excel.
Okay. So when you click on view resource sheet, what are you looking at right now? Nothing? Do you
Nothing.
see it?
It's
Do you
just a
see it?
blank. It's just a blank sheet.
Yeah, well, that's sort of odd because it means that you didn't copy and paste the information.
Maybe I'll do it again. Then if I have any issues, then I'll reach out to you privately.
Oh, sure.
Thank
Absolutely.
you. Thank you.
And
Professor,
yeah.
it's Idayat.
Hi.
Yeah, hi. Please, I want to take you back to the milestone. So in my own work here, I have for the milestone, there's a key here, but it's showing 01-30. And I think yours is showing 2/2. So I don't know why is it that different?
Which milestone?
For my charter created, the way my milestone is showing is quite different from the way it's showing on yours.
So what are you saying? Yours is not 1.1.4?
No. For in the key, there's this on the Gantt chart, not on the task now, on the Gantt chart. Yeah. So after having the black
diamond,
yeah. So the number, my number is showing 01-30 instead of 2/2 or the way yours is showing. Did I do something wrong? I'm not sure why.
I don't think there was any problem with yours.
Oh yeah.
No.
So mine is showing 01-30-30.
Well, it's a date.
Oh, it's a date.
Yeah. The 22 is February 2nd.
Oh, okay. So okay, all right. Makes sense then. Okay, so it's a date. It's actually not the number of milestone in the Gantt chart.
No, it's a date.
Okay.
It's February 2nd.
Okay.
Whether you have a milestone, there's always a date.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Professor.
Yeah. These milestones are time bound, right? If you take a look at the next milestone in my file, it's 11/6, right?
Okay. Makes sense. Thank you, Professor.
Sure. What else? Other questions? No? Okay, guys. Well, if you don't have any questions for me. Thank you for attending. I'm going to stop recording.